So it's time to go racing for the Blancpain GT Sports Club. It's been a cracking season. This is the qualifying race, the first of two races here at the Circuit de Catalunya. And conditions are very warm indeed. It might be just edging out of September towards October, but the track conditions, it was about 21 degrees first thing this morning air temperature, and it's continued to soar. Blue sky day, up to 37.5 degrees track temperature. Humidity, you can feel it if you're moving around the circuit, that is for sure, just around 52%. But it's a fine day of racing and a packed grid of cars, more than ever before coming out to play in the Blancpain GT Sports Club. And certainly a lot to be looking at. A welcome breeze there at certain points on the circuit, not felt by a lot of us, those in the grandstands and me in the press box, but in the qualifying. After qualifying, Coach McKenzie, top of the tree, he's been getting better and better, and there he is, top of the pile in his Lamborghini. Karim Ojay already crowned 2018 Blancpain GT Sports Club champion. He will start second. Ed Lewis-Brawner showing better and better form in the 991 Porsche. Well, he must be if he's ahead of Patrick van Glabacker, so long the standard bearer in this championship. But we have a packed grid of cars, 17 coming out to play. We had a couple of others trying out early on, but a great spread of cars, a great spread of faces, and the cars look fabulous, glinting in the sunshine down below as they line up for their penultimate race of the season. The last one will be tomorrow morning, and certainly a good way to end the season on a high. So track conditions great, cars look brilliant. There is Karim Ojay, his season's been an outstanding one, and way clear at the top of the points table. Of course, points are things that a lot of these drivers are aiming for as a serious championship bid, but as taking part as much as anything is what it's all about. So there is Karim Ojay's BMW, probably quite warm, a black car on a hot day here in Spain, but he's had just such a good run through the championship this year, being run by Buisson Gignon Racing, who also run some races up to 2 Lamborghini Gallardos this weekend. I think it's just no, we've actually got Claudio Gosselin and Per Filioni. Sorry, I walked the paddock earlier, didn't see Pierre's car, but they were being brought back in after their qualifying session. So we're going to get going in this race. There'll be 25 minutes of racing action, and then tomorrow, Sunday, they go out to play all over again. That'll be just around lunchtime when they get another 25 minutes to go out and play. But Coach McKenzie is a driver, not German by name, quite clearly, but certainly runs with the German flag, and he has been getting better and better. HP Racing International run his Lamborghini Huracan, and he just seems to respond more and more as pressure's applied to him. He works his way to the front and is certainly looking very good indeed here. A competition for gentlemen drivers, and a lot of them appreciate the fact it doesn't cover the entire summer, European summer. They can take some time off to, run their small into multinational corporations, but to come out here and play. And one of the drivers, of course, famously commutes from the States for his racing. Stephen Earle, orthopedic surgeon in the USA, just adores his racing, adores his Ferraris and his run by Kessel Racing. But 488, that's from the AF Corsa stable. That's Patrick van Glabacker, Belgian racer, and he's had so much success over the years in this championship. Not pitched against the young guns. These are the older drivers, quite a few of them, and they have their separate cups. If you're in the Iron Cup class, which Patrick isn't, but certainly some of his rivals are, that means you've got a fair few years on the clock. I was just talking about Stephen Earle. He is one of those drivers of a greater vintage who race in the Iron Cup. Edward Lewis-Brawner, another German racer. His 991 Porsche was right at the top of the charts for some while in qualifying, but still a good solid result. We'll be starting from third on the grid. Now we're going back to row number 3, and it's the number 7 car, the Ferrari from BMS Scuderia Italia, still carrying those traditional red and white stripes up over its roof, and that's being driven by Luigi Lucchini. Rather fitting an Italian car, so we swoop around that on our mighty Segway. Then we go across to a second Porsche, Preckert Herbert livery, Jürgen Hering on board the 66 Porsche. He's on row 3. Quite a well-known livery in sports car racing now, certainly been racing around the globe for several years. The 111 Ferrari, Kessel Racing, Stephen Earle. He's the man we mentioned that he'll have wrapped his smile into his helmet underneath his bushy moustache and popped into the cockpit. And as you can see, he's racing in the Iron Cup for older drivers. So as long as he wins that class, he is a very, very happy man. Where he ends up overall doesn't matter so much to him. Alongside Angelique de Tavernier, she really is getting better and better. So she sits down there alongside Stephen Earle, running for the AF Corsa team. Quite a paddock in the special village for the Blancpain GT Sports Club racers. Tucked away in the back of a very, very crowded paddock. I mean, with the success of the Blancpain Endurance Cup, the French GT Series run by the FFSA under SRO rulings, that's almost 100 cars between them, and then you add nigh on 20 in this. I think we're going to have 17 starters, plus the French Porsches, the French Peugeots. It's a very, very busy meeting here at the Circuit de Catalunya. So let's go down from the front of the grid. Front row, Coach McKenzie in the green Lamborghini alongside the black BMW of Karim OJ. Then we get Edward Lewis Browner, and alongside him 488, the Ferrari from AF Corsa, Patrick Van Glabica. Row 3, second of the Porsches, the Precoat Herbert car, and that is Jürgen Hering. So two Precoat Herbert cars, nose to tail, Stephen Earle, and as we just mentioned, there's Angelique de Tavernier alongside him. Then we go back to the next row, more Ferraris, but obviously red and green, nice and easy to pick out. Number 3, Artega Rennsport, is Klaus-Dieter Frers. He was on the left. Lamborghini Gallardo on the right, that's another one from the Butson Gignon stables, and alongside that was on the Ferraris. Now the first Audi in the field, that's down on the left of your screen, alongside 224, which is Dinant de Malagamua. But the Audi entered by the car collection team that also runs a car in the Blancpain Endurance Series this weekend. Bringing up the back is one of the older body-shaped Mercedes, entered by GDL Racing. That's Gianluca De Lorenzi's team. Roberto Rainieri is the driver of that Gullwing racer, so we can look over the roof of that. But the grid is in formation. They'll go around on their formation lap, so just remember the front row is Coach McKenzie in his number 17 Lamborghini. Alongside is Karim OJ in his black BMW from the outside the front row. So two makes of cars on the front 2 positions, and made it 3 in the front 3 positions, because we have Edward Lewis Browner starting 3rd in his Porsche. There you can see it, white with a grey stripe over the roof, and alongside the best of the Ferraris in qualifying, which is the 488 example of Patrick Van Glabica. Great grouping of cars. First two rather slowly away to the start of the formation lap, but the main thing is that they all get away safely, sensibly, bring the cars back round to start the race. And as the last of the cars, the GDL Racing Mercedes gets away, Roberto Rainieri at the wheel, all is good as the cars go around to get their final sighting lap ahead of their race. And tomorrow their race will run to 40 minutes, and that will start at 5 minutes past 12. So temperatures could be slightly cooler than they are now, because here we are at 25 past 3 in the afternoon, and the temperatures have continued to rise, but the humidity is relatively high here. We won't have rain, but it just makes it a little less comfortable for the drivers. They might have thought the September, almost October, might be a little cooler here than it would be in the summer, but it's still very warm indeed. So there's Karim OJ, he's used to the warmth, and he's just had such a good season. But let's look at the grid as the cars go around this 16-turn circuit. There's Coach McKenzie at the front in the bright green Lamborghini with the black flashes, alongside Karim OJ, his black BMW. There it is, going down the slope at turn 5. Behind him we have 2 Porsches on the next 2 row, including Jürgen Hering in 5th position alongside Luigi Lucchini. Then Stephen Earle, the top of the Iron Cup racers, and Angelique de Tavernier, very good qualifying for her to get ahead of Klaus-Dieter Frers and Vadim Kogai, who's dropped in this weekend for Rinaldi Racing. Frederic Fangio, Swiss racer for AF Corsa, one of the Ferraris. And Claude Gosselin in the next of the Lamborghinis, the best placed of the Gallardos. Dirk Parhoffer down there. Louis-Philippe Soden might be a little bit higher. And the BMW at the back of Buffin, the one BMW M6 in the race. I expect we'll have more of those in the years to come. It's certainly going very, very well indeed in the GT championships around the world. So, just to reiterate, this is the shorter of the 2 races. This is 25 minutes. Tomorrow's race, which will start around noon and 5 past, if all goes well. 5 past 12 will be 40 minutes. This one, 25 minutes. But it's about being very brave down into the first corner and sensible thereafter, one feels. But don't forget, this is gentlemanly racing, but that doesn't mean they're not going to be trying. They maybe just won't be taking quite as many risks as their younger, and in some cases, much more experienced younger counterparts. But through the year, the standard has risen and risen from the opening round when victory went to Mario Cordoni. He's not even at the sharp end of the grid today, so it shows how form has changed. He won the opening race all the way back in April at Monza. Field coming down the slope into the turn 14-15 chicane that was inserted quite some time ago now to lose, unfortunately, that wonderful sweep from one of the higher points in the circuit all the way through that final corner. Now this is the final corner, as you can see, where the chicane interrupts that flow. Turn 16 onto the start finish straight. Drivers have to do their part. Safety cars pulled off. They have to have their eyes on the lights on the starting gantry. Very good formation there. Who's going to get the better start when the lights turn to green? And it looks like Coach McKenzie's got an absolute belter at the front of the grid, and it's all very level in behind. McKenzie moves across ahead of Karimo J. So that will be the order down is the first corner. Up the outside goes Patrick Van Glavica. Down the inside, Jürgen Herring. Edward Lewis Browner is the better of the Porsches, but he slots into fourth, becoming fifth place because the BMS Scuderia Italia car, Luigi Lucchini, looks to have swept around the outside. The 224 Lamborghini Donato Malagamua got a little bit up on the curbs there. They've been slightly muscled out of position there. He is 224, the black and pink Lamborghini. All 17 starters through the first few corners, and now the race leader, Coach McKenzie, is escaping, and we've had a change for second place. Because Karimo J has been moved back down to third. Over the crest of the hill they go, and all very tidy out of turn 4 into turn 5 down the slope. Good lead for the Lamborghini, but OJ back now into second place. Back where he started, but certainly was under pressure there. While this is happening, while OJ is bottling them up behind, but he's not really, because he's got about 2 car length advantage over the car in third place. The Ferraris making their way forward, and the Porsches slightly sliding backwards. They were 3rd and 5th at the start. I think they're probably 4th and 6th at this point. 5th and 6th. The better place to the Porsches is back in 4th place. BMS Scuderia Italia car trying to make progress in the red and white stripes on the roof of Luigi Lucchini's car. Looking very easy indeed for Coach McKenzie at the moment. Patrick Van Glavica in there. He briefly got up into second place. He's fallen back down to third now. McKenzie in and almost out of the first part of the chicane before OJ comes in, and that black BMW then behind is very, very tight indeed. Nose and tail pretty much right to the tail of this 17-car field. At the end of the opening lap, it's an advantage of 1.3 seconds. Karimo J in second, Patrick Van Glavica third, Luigi Lucchini, Edward Lewis Browner in fifth, and Vadim Kugai has moved forward. He is up into 6th place overall. And in fact, it's not quite nose to tail from second place down to 17th. It goes down to 15th, and there's a slight gap then. The BMW of Jean-Paul Bouffin, and at the back is that Gullwing Mercedes bringing up the rear, Roberto Rainieri. What's happened at the start of this second lap is the battle for third place has become so intense that that's allowed Karimo J. Don't forget, he went down to third place in the opening lap. He has now made good his escape into second place, back into second place. Patrick Van Glavica's got his hands very full indeed, being attacked by Lucchini. We've got Browner in behind in the 991 Porsche. Yes, that battle, it could go any which way. Through turn 7, then immediately into turn 8, then one of the best corners on the circuit. Turn 9, up over the brow. You're committed before you can see the line of the corner. Over the crest they go, slightly clunking the curbs on the inside. That's fine. A lot of the cars run very wide on exit. Patrick Van Glavica had a cleaner little run out of the corner, out of turn 9, and that just gave him a tiny advantage over the Scuderia Italia Ferrari of Luigi Lucchini. Advantage he carried all the way down the hill to turn 10, the left-hand very tight corner at the back end of the infield straight. Do I sense, it's funny, in the middle sector I sense that Karimo J had closed in very slightly on the race leader, Coach McKenzie. I looked at the timing screens, he gained 1/1000th of a second, so I think there was a hunch rather than anything else. I certainly not good enough to judge those fractions, but bear in mind 1.37 seconds at the end of the first lap, 1.36, it's come down to 0.9858 of a second, so OJ, fastest lap of the race, is closing in. There you can see first and second, then that gap of about nearly 3 seconds back to Patrick Van Glavica, being challenged by Lucchini, surely not up alongside enough to make a move into turn 1, because of course here at the Circuit de Catalunya, turn 1 becomes 2 very, very soon indeed. It literally turns instantly from right-hander to left-hander, and many a driver has ended up in a gravel trap down at the first corner. OJ continues to hunt down Coach McCanty. Is it going to be Lamborghini or is it going to be BMW winning this race? Would it be even the Ferraris? Who knows? They're running in third and fourth positions, but certainly the Lamborghini and the BMW making good their escape in the first part of this lap. OJ has hunted down McCanty. The gap between the Lamborghini and the BMW coming down all the time, literally with every corner around the circuit. Waiting for them to reach the crest, and he'll come back into sight. There they are, from my commentary position. I can pick them up as they come out of that corner there, turn 9 at the top of the hill. They disappear behind the trees from my vantage point, high in the grandstand opposite the control tower, down to turn 10. You can see them hard on the brakes, and then they flash back into my view, accelerating flat out up the hill. Behind them, Van Glavica, Lucchini and Browner staying in that order. Not for one to try. Certainly Edmund Lewis Browner at the back in the Porsche is really getting all over the back of Lucchini now, which is very good news indeed for Patrick Van Glavica in third place, buying him a tiny little space with which to try and make good his escape. There's Van Glavica, Lucchini. Kogai now being pushed very hard by the second of the Porsches. This is the one that started higher on the grid with Jürgen Hering, but had a bit of a poor run through turns 1 and 2. He's now bottled up behind the green Ferrari, but he's determined to try and make it back. And has he got a bit more momentum down the start-finish straight? Yes, he has. If he wants to turn, he's got to be behind the Ferrari, not along, sort of out of position alongside, so he's not getting the maximum gain there. Well, that's the battle for 6th place. 66 is the one doing the hunting in 7th place at the moment. Jürgen Hering pushing on hard. Angelique de Tavernier some little distance now behind them. She's another second or so back. Could benefit from their little scrap. Coach McCanty, and now here's the two cars. Even though they're fighting over penultimate position or fighting not to be last, those cars having a great scrap. 60 Mercedes bring up the rear as it was on the grid, but the 42 BMW of Jean-Paul Bouffin holding him off for now, but certainly number 60 being driven as hard as it can be by Roberto Ronieri, so everybody in the race is having a race. One really does start to sense the next passing manoeuvre will be in this battle for 6th place. Just see it flashing into the background of the shot. There's the battle for third, the 3 cars. Then the green Ferrari, Vadim Kogai, tucked in behind. We have Jürgen Hering, but there comes Angelique de Tavernier, and she's got plenty of company because Stephen Earle is tucked in behind in the 111 Ferrari. He is the 2nd place car in the Titanium Cup, but he is going very well indeed. But this battle, certainly Kogai made a good start, and that propelled him up ahead of quite a few drivers who out-qualified him. And now what was the battle for 6th remains a battle for 6th, but we've got 4 cars in it, just waiting for the Stephen Earle to try and get on the back. De Tavernier is definitely right on the tail now of Jürgen Hering, and should get a really good tow down the start finish straight, and maybe even at the back of that group Stephen Earle can get a multiple tow. Yes, because the second of those 2 red Ferraris is closing in. Really at the Circuit de Catalunya, the best place to try and overtake a manoeuvre is into the first corner. Stephen Earle had a little look there, but that wasn't really a realistic dive there from the American veteran. And at the start of the season, you wouldn't have expected Angelique de Tavernier to be able to hold off the likes of Stephen Earle. So many years of experience. She did pick up a 10th place in a year at Paul Ricard, but really has clearly gained a lot of racing nous this year. So Stephen's going to have to think about where his move is coming from, where he's going to try and plan to get past. But all along, he's got Dinan de Malagua getting closer and closer. Behind Malagua, we have Frederic Fangio. So plenty of gaggles of cars here in this race. We've got 16.5 minutes remaining. It's a 25-minute race. Tomorrow's is the longer one. That's 40 minutes for the Blancpain GT Sports Club. First to second, still under a second by a whisker. 0.997 of a second last time around was the gap between Coach McCanty leading in his bright green Lamborghini and the black BMW of Karim OJ. But this battle is providing everyone with sort of the reason to come out racing here is first and second. Well, you can see that is under a second, because through the first of the three sectors and the second of the three sectors, Karim Ojay has got closer and closer, coming through the sweep, the final corner, turn 16. He's probably about half a second down. Last time it was 0.357, so under half a second, and again getting a lovely toe down towards the first corner. Pulling out somewhat early to have a little look. I'd have stuck there a little bit longer, but he's a racing driver. I'm a commentator, so we'll bow to Karim's consideration. Didn't reckon he was close enough to make a move. If anything, it's almost like he was pulling out to try and get a bit of cooler air through his radiators there, but a nice sweep through turn 3. Long uphill right-hander. The car trying to make a move, the 224 Lamborghini. That's the HB Racing entered Lamborghini Huracan Delantha Malagamua. Certainly plenty to race for. Circuit de Catalunya, it's not an easy place to pass at. You have to plan your moment. Have to just think about it for several corners and really commit to a move. But not a lot of the drivers are quite prepared to do that just yet, waiting to really feel confident that they know where a weak point is in a rival ahead of them, or indeed where they may have a strength. It's very equal at the front of the field. Looks like Coach McKenzie is now starting to respond to the attack from Karim Ojay. Out of turn 10 they go, through the kink at turn 11, up the hill, climbing all the while. Not very steeply so, but up to a point at which it flattens. It's going out on turn 12 now, turn 13. Along the crest, then you can see them dropping to the right. They used to go further on and then just round the final corner. Now they come down the slope into this left-right chicane. It's still Coach McKenzie, still being harried. This has been a better lap from the German racer. The Saudi racer tucks in behind Karim Ojay, giving his all, but is he closer? No, I'd say he's fallen very slightly off. It was 0.357 of a second, it's 0.613. So yes, a better lap there. A response from Coach McKenzie, leading this Blancpain GT Sports Club event here in Barcelona. And they've opened out a nearly 7-second advantage over Patrick Van Glavica. Van Glavica holding station. He's now got a second advantage over Luigi Lucchini. So third to fourth has gone out, to the relief of Van Glavica, because of course Lucchini is looking at his rear view mirror, because he's got the 991 Porsche tucked in behind him and starting to rub away at his tail, perhaps. Fastest lap of the race, Karim Ojay. That was earlier in the race. That was the second flying lap, and it's one that hasn't got him into the lead of the race. He dropped back. Don't forget, he fell to third on the opening lap, but he's got himself up with the pole starter, the driver who got away at the start of the race, Coach McKenzie, his bright green Lamborghini. The start was initially under investigation. Pleased to see there's a message on the timing screen saying no longer, so nobody's going to be pinged for any moves. I must say it looked very, very level indeed. And this time down the infield straight, we have a little look. It was a better run out of turn 9 for Karim Ojay in the BMW. No, not prepared to take the risk yet, diving down into turn 10. A couple of seasons ago, you possibly could have done that to Coach McKenzie, but he's just gained so much racecraft in the Blancpain GT Sports Club that he's aware of these things. He's ready for them now, and certainly for Karim Ojay, who has considerably more experience than Coach McKenzie, having raced in the World Endurance Championship and Le Mans 24 Hours and things of that ilk. He's going to have to plan his move very, very carefully indeed. On to the start-finish straight they come. A better lap for Karim Ojay, 0.242 of a second. It's the closest they've been. He's got a really good toe over the crest, now dropping down to turn 1. He's nailed his colours to the flag. Coach McKenzie pulls the driver's right across and takes a line and says, if you're coming past me, you've got to go on the outside. And Karim Ojay didn't fancy it, but almost got alongside at turn 2. Now he's on the outside line for turn 3. But who can get the tighter exit to the corner? And so the BMW driver can, but across his nose, quite legitimately, Coach McKenzie covers it off. Has he covered it off for turn 4? Yes, he has just. But again, by taking that tight line on the way in, it compromises his exit line. Karim Ojay, no, not able to sweep around the outside, not close enough to make a move to turn 5. The best he can do is flash his headlights and try to do what he can to usurp the driver who's led from the start of the race, the driver who's under huge pressure, Coach McKenzie. 17 cars started, 17 cars circulating, and the gap between first and second is almost the same as the gap between 16th and 17th. they're 0.25 of a second apart, and 16th and 17th, Jean-Paul Bouffin, Roberto Ranieri, they're 0.311 of a second apart. So tight at the front, tight at the back, and I tell you what, pretty much tight the whole way down the field. Some fantastic battles here in this, the qualifying race, the shorter of the two races for Blancpain GT Sports Club. At this, the 2018 finale, we haven't got to 2019 yet. And the first person to make a step up is Frédéric Fangio, who's gone for a little spin. He was running just outside the top 10. He was in 11th place, and unfortunately he's just out of turn 7. Got it wrong now. He doesn't want to get the car beached on the curbs. In fact, I think everybody's gone past him, with the exception of the final two cars, which is Jean-Paul Bouffin and Roberto Ranieri. Or they too got past the stricken. In fact, I think they too would have got past the stricken Ferraris. That means Fangio will drop to the tail of the field. And with a little bit of breathing space now, Coach McKenzie, well, nearly a whole second, 0.889 of a second clear with 10 minutes remaining. Good to see that Fangio's got it going again. Well, there too come the last couple of cars. Ranieri has got ahead of Jean-Paul Bouffin, so had a change in the back of the field. But Bouffin needn't worry. He's not last, because that is now in the hands of Frédéric Fangio. Here's this great little grouping fighting over the, well, 5th place downwards. Vadim Kogai, in fact 6th place down, Kogai, Jürgen Hering in the Porsche, the 55 Ferrari of Angelique Tavernier. She's done very well, she's hung onto their tail. And then just a little distance behind should be Stephen Earle. There he is in 9th place, just off the back of this pack. Vadim Kogai looking very tidy at the front of that group. 6th place overall in the number 333. Ferrari for Rinaldi Racing. By now you look at those cars in the bright colours, and it's not a Lamborghini, so it's not a Grassa Racing car, but it's slightly more yellow, the colour, the green used by Rinaldi Racing. It really does stand out. Where are the moves coming from? The drivers going faster and faster. In fact, the last lap of the race was the fastest lap of the race for Coach McKenzie. That's how he got his advantage out to 0.889 of a second. It looks less than that as through the final corner, through turn 16, sweeps the Lamborghini, but sweeps the BMW as well. So what's it down to now? The gap is down to 0.365 of a second. All the closest we've seen so far is 0.242, and no move was made down into turn 1. And again, the Lamborghini just looks that little bit more sleek down the start-finish straight, which must be so frustrating for Karamo J. But the BMW is better through the twisty bits, better through the corners, certainly on the setup, that the Saudi driver is running here today. So he's got to probe, push, and work out what he's going to do. They've got a comfortable lead over the 3rd place runner, Patrick Van Blabica's Ferrari. And now we've suddenly had a change of position, because the 333 Ferrari has gone backwards. Vadim Kogai was 6th. Angelique Tavernier has passed the two of them. They must have had a little slip up together, and the French racer just said thank you very much, and she dived past. So Jürgen Hering stays in 7th, but he's got a different car in front of him. It's the Ferrari, it's escaping, and now he's got being pushed again by Vadim Kogai, and tucked in behind and much closer now because of the little hiccup, the trip up. Jürgen Hering and Vadim Kogai is Stephen Earle, but de Tavernier is getting away. That's the thing, constant pressure being applied can come to. So let's have a look. It's a challenge up the inside into turn 1. That's after the move has already been made for de Tavernier to go past him, but certainly I'd say those drivers didn't want to be entering into the pit exit. They crossed the pit exit line, which I'm not sure is a good thing to do. Anyhow, the outcome of whatever went on before is Vadim Kogai lost ground to Jürgen Hering, and both got passed by Angelique Tavernier. Still no pass for the lead of the race. It's getting closer and closer, tighter and tighter. Coach McKenzie started from pole, hanging on. Karamo J must be ruining the fact that for the half of the opening lap he was down in 3rd place, but once he got back into 2nd he was able to close at will. But what he hasn't been able to do, with 3.81 of a second between them, almost identical last time, is to make a passing manoeuvre. Maybe he's biding his time, maybe he's waiting until the final lap to pounce, but maybe you don't want to leave that much to that point in the race. Maybe better to make it now, but certainly the last few laps, 2 of the last 3 laps have been very, very good indeed for the chaser, for Karamo J.
Sweeping on the inside, going to the outside around turn 3. It's a long, long corner. Turn 4, negotiated. Still the Lamborghini in front of the BMW. OJ appears to have plenty of ideas, but there aren't plenty of passing opportunities here. In a small single-seater, yes, you can pass, but you really, really have to work it in a GT3 car. Up through the kink at turn 8, up to the top of the crest at turn 9, and then the track flattens out. But look, the next car through, Patrick Van Glaviker, he was nearly 10 seconds down, 9.5 seconds down, but he's got that comfortable cushion because this battle for 4th place continues to rage. And oh dear, we've lost Roberto Ranieri. He's taken a little bit of a slip off, trying to work out where exactly that is. So it's the exit of he's come up the hill. That's at turn 11 going to turn 12. We did have a car going off in practice this morning there. It's a very unusual place to go. Normally you'd go off further around the corner. Let's have a look. Coming up the hill, the white Mercedes with the we lost at the exit of turn 11. So it's nothing to do with the approach to the next corner. Impact, but of the minimal variety, so just kiss the edge of the gravel there. And so that's our first real faller, who doesn't look as though he's going to continue. I can't, you know, the marshals are up there trying to do what they do. But anyhow, at the front of the race, here is a move that, it looks like it's going to happen this time. Up the inside goes OJ. No, he doesn't. He was a car and a half behind. Doesn't have the pace. Time and again, the Lamborghini at the end of the start finish straight pulls clear. There's Roberto Ranieri, the GDL Racing Mercedes. I'm sure nothing is untoward or sufficiently untoward to mean he can't start tomorrow's race, but he's taken a little fall at the back of the field. Where is OJ going to find his way past? What they do not have just now, they're not catching the tail end of the field enough for traffic to come into play, which is the sort of variable that OJ needs. He's given it his best shot for about half a dozen laps now, just getting right on the tail and really, really probing. He was a few seconds behind, and he closed the gap down. He's got right onto the tail, but since then he's got close time and again down the start-finish straight and at all points around the lap. But it's down the start-finish straight you think the best opportunity may come. But how about down the infield straight, down to turn 10? That looks like Vadim Kugai may have a puncture. Yeah, the car's limping around here, hopping around the front left corner, I think, might have gone down. So this is a car that rose to 6th place, and for Vadim Kugai, running in the titanium class, you can see, yes, his front left tyre appears to have gone down. Was that after contact, or was it already down? The car's bouncing around a little bit there. No, the front's already gone down on its own. So he did quite a good save there, off to the edge of the circuit, skirted the edge, brought it back on, hopefully not with too much gravel. Klaus-Dieter Frers charging around the outside, and the Arteaga Rennsport Ferrari there, looking at the replay. But with 3 minutes remaining on the clock, it looks so Dinantha Malamagura is limping in slowly as well, but no such drop of pace from our race leaders. Coach McKenzie and the Lamborghini in the front, Karim OJ tucked in behind, but still behind. That's the problem, half a second down. It really does look as though Coach McKenzie has closed off all the options. Suddenly the BMW is going slowly. The BMW was on his tail. Oh, in fact, I think we've got wave yellow flags on the start finish straight. 2 cars almost pulling to a halt. So I'm looking for any other signalling out there. Wave yellow flag, it's gone to a full course yellow. Full course yellow, drivers all have to observe a maximum speed, and what we can see, it looks so Patrick Van Glaviker is closed right up. No, Patrick, do not overtake. No, now he's got the message. Because don't forget, he was about 9 seconds behind in regular running. In fact, he was nearly 12 seconds down when they crossed the start-finish line, caught right up with the tail of Karim OJ. Karim seemed to pick up the signal about the full course yellow rather more swiftly than the race leader, Coach McKenzie. Certainly much more swiftly than Patrick Van Glaviker, but no overtaking has been done, so that is good. But look at the clock at the top of the screen. Under this full course yellow period, we've still got the Lamborghini leading the race, but it's down to 1 minute 45 seconds until the checkered flag can be unfurled to be waved at the race leader. And now the slow-moving, tyre-punctured Vadim Kugai Ferrari makes it back, and it looks like the field is released. Yes, we're under green again, and Coach McKenzie's reacted very well indeed, and he's sitting on an advantage of about 1.5 seconds, I would think, as they go through turn 9 down the sloping infield straight to turn 10. It's still the Lamborghini in front. Coach doing what he can, being suitably cautious, and the power down up the hill through the kink at turn 11. Turn 12 at the top of the hill, that's where the Mercedes went off backwards. it looks so this race is in control, but is it in the pocket? There's the question of Coach McCanty. Karamo J chasing for all he's worth, and certainly the driver who gained the most out of it was Patrick Van Glaviker in third place. Here is Patrick in the 488 Ferrari, but he didn't react as quickly as perhaps he might have done to the signal. So this will be the final lap of the race that Coach McCanty is starting now. Blancpain still running very slowly down the start for this straight. Don't know if he's got a problem with his Lamborghini. Anyhow, he's not going to be in the way, as it looks like he's about to trickle off the circuit of the race leader, because there goes Coach McCanty for the final time down into the first corner. Turn 1 of 16. It's a short lap here, 16 turns, very twisty, very technical. But Coach McCanty seems to have mastered all of those eventualities today. Big push from the number 2 BMW of Karamo J. It's not to be a race for him today. It's not to be a win for him today. It's certainly been a race. There's plenty of racing going on. He just couldn't find the straight line speed. Malagamua limping to the side of the circuit, and off he goes. So he's tumbled out of the tail end of the top 10 with that disappointment there, but with half a lap to go, sitting in the lead of the race, nobody really sitting in front of him now. As Coach McCanty tries to stroke it home, who is going to finish in 5th place? Is it going to be Edward Lewis Browner in the Porsche, or tucked in behind? Oh, got a spin. So Vadim Kagai has had that puncture replaced. He's gone back onto the circuit. He's had a rotation on this, the final lap. Yellow flags out. There'll be no overtaking at that point, but I think that's a case of just trying to make up for lost time down at turn 10. He's gone for that rotation, and that is not going to interrupt the progress of this driver, Coach McCanty, going around the final lap. Everything under control down the slope to the final chicane, before feeding immediately into the right-hander is the final corner of the circuit, turn 16. Great push from second place from Karamo J, but no, today belongs, the qualifying race goes to Coach McCanty in his Lamborghini. Karamo J backs off to take second place and push, but unfortunately that full course yellow didn't help. Who is going to be through in third? Should be Patrick Van Glaviker. Yes, indeed it is. In third place, it's going to be Luigi Lucchini next. Let's have a look. No, we've had the change on the last lap. It's Jürgen Hering, Edward Lewis Browner has moved the Porsche ahead. I thought that was happening on that final lap. I was just trying to pick it up, and then Luigi Lucchini early in the lap fell back down to 5th place, but they had a good scrap. It went from the start to the finish. Angelique de Tavernier comes through in 6th place. Jürgen Hering in the second Porsche, the number 66 car, finishes 7th. Then Stephen Earle should be 8th. There is Stephen crossing the line, and the top 10 should be completed by Claude-Yves Gosselin and Klaus-Dieter Frez. There's Frez, the red Ferrari with the white and blue stripe over the roof. He gets 10th place. Racing still going on right the way to the finish. The car collection, Audi, sweeping through to be effectively the final one of the finishers. Dirk Parkhofer coming home in 12th place. Everyone else was a lap down. Coach McCanty winning the race, winning the titanium class for good measure. But what a race it was, with Karamo J really, really making him fight all the way to the finish. And these two just coming in on the slowing down lap. Edward Lewis Browner has dropped one position behind Luigi Lucchini, but he got ahead on that final lap to take 4th place. But for Coach McCanty, another win, another great result for him. It's been a cracking season. And 8th place for Stephen Earle was enough for that Iron Cup victory. So, again, his transatlantic travels making it very worthwhile his time indeed. Klaus-Dieter Frez was 2nd in the Iron Cup class, and Louis-Philippe Sonnen in 11th place overall will take the 3rd place on that particular podium. Coach McCanty didn't put a wheel wrong. There was a huge amount of pressure, but everything Karamo J threw it to him, he responded and returned almost with interest. So for all these drivers, focus on tomorrow's race now, but that's been a thoroughly enjoyable 25 minutes of action. It really was action from start to finish. Coach McCanty just putting in opposite my commentary position, passing in the brief period of shadow under the balconies of the control tower and the podium balcony, and now the car sitting in bright sunshine. Coach always runs with this sort of almost tiger-like striping on his cars. Obviously tigers aren't in that bright green and black livery, but certainly he has been hunting like a tiger today. Another man who hunted but didn't quite get the results he wanted though. Pulls up alongside Karim O'J in the number 2 BMW, and third place Patrick van Glavica. So top three makes of cars, 3 nationalities of drivers, just showing the mix in the Blancpain GT Sports Club. And plenty of laughter down there. It's about pleasure, it's about the fun of it all. And Coach McKenzie, double thumbs up. He's enjoyed himself enormously. The aim of the game, but from these drivers, they start just coming into the sports club wanting to just enjoy their racing without having to be harried by the young guns, because certainly a lot of these drivers are a bit older, but they get the bug and they get better and better. They take coaching, they develop their form, and for Coach McKenzie there, it really has been a cracking season. Better still for Karim O'J, because he nailed the championship title. There we go. Taller figure of Karim O'J, well done, because they enjoyed that race. You don't want to just go around nose to tail, you want to fight for position. They certainly did. That was a really good advertisement for the
Coach McKenzie, congratulations. What a race that was. You really took the battle there.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy. First of all, this is my first interview I gave in the sports club. Second, to my first pole position. Third, my first place. I'm so happy. Was difficult to defend, not easy, yeah, but after the first car in the corner I felt delight and everything was happy, so now waiting for tomorrow.
You did really well to keep OJ behind you.
Yeah, it's not easy, it's a very good driver, I respect him very much.
He looks very disappointed.
Sorry?
He looks very disappointed.
Oh no, I think we are a good team, a good competition. This is in the sport club, everything is fair, yeah, good drivers, I love everybody.
Congratulations.
Well, you can have no higher accolade. Very happy man who loves everybody. Coach McKenzie, I've said it before, I'll say it again, he really has improved through last year and especially this year. And to keep Karim O'J behind him with all that pressure for the vast majority of the race was very impressive indeed. But you can see a driver who's really thoroughly enjoyed his afternoon's entertainment. He was entertained, we were entertained. It's win-win. For all these drivers, they can't really go and get partying yet. They've got to do it all over again tomorrow. An extra 15 minutes of racing, 40-minute race tomorrow. Let's take a look at the results. Just 2 seconds at the end, and that was with Karim O'J backing off. But Coach McKenzie, the victor in this, the qualifying race. Lamborghini ahead of BMW. The best of the Ferrari drivers, Patrick van Glavica. Edward Lewis Browner on the final lap made it 4 makes in the top 4 by moving his Porsche ahead of Luigi Lucchini's Ferrari. Angelique de Tavernier, great run to 6th place overall. Ahead of Jürgen Herring's Porsche. Stephen Earle winning the Iron Cup class in 8th, ahead of Claude-Yves Gosselin and Klaus-Dieter Frères. 17 cars started. We had a couple of punctures, cars going off, but look at it. We got 15 of the 17 through to the finish. So good racing here at the Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona. Blue skies, warm temperatures. It's been a really thoroughly entertaining event. So let's take a look back at the highlights to start. From pole position, Coach McKenzie got a great start. In fact, it was really very level the whole way down. We had a brief loss of second position for Karim O'J. Patrick van Glavica going around the outside into turn 1, but that puts you on the wrong line for turn 2. In behind, all very clean. Delanta Malamogur getting over the curb, but look, already on the opening lap, Coach McKenzie was starting to make his break. Karim O'J had got back ahead of Van Glavica into second place. He was hunting, he was pushing hard, and Van Glavica was being pushed hard himself. Luigi Lucchini in the number 7 Ferrari from BMS Scuderia Italia pushing hard, and behind them, having started ahead of them, was Edward Lewis Browner in the white and grey Porsche. But the real story of the race was the battle for the lead between Coach McKenzie in the green Lamborghini. He was in the lead, he was determined not to give it to Karim O'J, and Karim in turn was determined to find a way past. And then the battling Vadim Kogai worked his way up to 6th place, and he was starting to put the pressure on. Little slip up there from Roberto Ranieri, off in his Gullwing Mercedes, not particularly damaged though, thank goodness, up at turn 12. And then with a front left puncture, suddenly Vadim Kogai couldn't turn it, brought a bit of gravel back onto the circuit, and he would limp slowly back round to the pits for tyre replacement. But for Coach McKenzie, the job was done. When the full course yellow dissipated, he managed to get a little advantage over Karim O'J, and there it is, 2 seconds. That's what it looks like as the checkered flag is waved. So a great start to the Blancpain GT Series GT Sports Club event here. We've got the second race tomorrow starting at 12:05, 40 minutes of fun. Karim O'J already had the title in his pocket he is now so far clear, 60 points clear, but Coach McCanty, that victory has moved him vaulting up to third place overall, and you really feel by the end of play tomorrow he should be up as the season's runner-up. And certainly OJ and McCanty have been the star drivers of the 2018 Blancpain GT Sports Club. So that should come as no surprise, and certainly great reward for the two of them. So just waiting for the drivers to reach the podium. There's the Iron Club. Stephen Earle closing in on Klaus-Dieter Freres. It's very tight at the top. There's 5 points between them with tomorrow's race to go. Louis Philippe now out of the reckoning in third place. But great to have a championship that goes all the way to the end. Out onto the podium, first of all, came Patrick Van Glaviker. Second place and second onto the podium for Karim Oj. But don't worry, he is this year's champion already. It was confirmed, but he was made to have a real race, and the driver who beats him, who'll take the top step, pat on the back, goes to Coach McCanty. Three nationalities, German, Saudi and Belgian on the top three steps of the podium. Three makes of cars, Lamborghini, BMW and Ferrari. Just again showing the diversity in the Blancpain GT Sports Club. And a very impressive trophy there for Patrick Van Glaviker. Another for Karim Oj. Again checking the provenance, of course it's real. And the driver with the biggest smile on his face, the biggest kiss for his trophy. Coach McCanty, what an afternoon he's had here. It's really been a very good event for him so far. Could be picking up another win tomorrow, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. So smiles all around for the drivers on the podium. They've got to do it again tomorrow.
Tomorrow we have a race, we need the suits.
And the voice of sensibility, Karim Oj says, please don't spray me because I've got to wear this suit again tomorrow, because the suit that's been sitting stewing overnight in sprayed champagne maybe isn't quite as fragrant as you'd quite like it to be when you're stuck in the hot cockpit of a car. Waiting now for the Iron Cup ceremony, I would think. But for HP Racing International and for Coach McCanty, it's been a really, really good afternoon here at Barcelona. You can see weather conditions beautiful. Humidity may have just dropped a little bit. Still little puffs of breeze around the circuit, which is welcome because the air temperatures were high 20s and the track temperatures are about 37, 38 degrees, but good visibility to the mountains beyond as we sit north of Barcelona. Packed agenda of racing here, absolutely solid. The paddock is rammed with cars as far as you can see, but out onto the podium, I think this should be the Iron Cup class. Car number 66, Jürgen Herring. Okay, back out comes Karim Oj. Okay, so what we're doing is going through the titanium class. And Coach McCanty back on top again, so the only change was the driver finishing in third place overall was Jürgen, fourth place overall, Edward Lewis Brown. He's on the right of the podium. So just to reiterate, this isn't the overall podium, this is the podium for the top three finishes in the Titanium Cup class. This is for the drivers who are not as old as the drivers running in the Iron Cup class. That's a backwards way of saying things, but the Iron Cup was something to have older drivers come out to play, and Stephen Earle has embraced that with enormous enthusiasm and taken the concept very much to his heart over the years. So Jürgen Hering on the right, one of the two Porsche drivers at the front end of the field. They don't seem to mind about spraying their overalls, but again, Karim Oj has beaten the retreat. Gentlemanly behaviour on the podium, as you would expect from gentlemanly drivers, and a great big trophy and a knocking together. Karim Oj had to bench back out because he'd forgotten that thing called a trophy, and he'll take that back to add the one he'd picked up earlier. Just waiting for the final element of the podium, which will be for the Iron Cup runners. And in third place, that should be Louis-Philippe Soden. So it is, very kindly saying the words across his shoulders. Second place, Klaus-Dieter Freres, Artega Rennsport Ferrari. And here he comes, Mr. Enthusiasm himself, Stephen Earle, a coiled spring onto the top step. There he is, 24 years old and a bit. Stephen Earle lapping it up on the top step of the podium. He really got stuck into that battle ahead of him, couldn't quite keep up with Angelique de Tavernier and lost out with the two cars ahead of her. Got a little bit out of shape, but he stuck in on their tail and knew he was in the lead of the Iron Cup class ahead of Klaus-Dieter Freres, and did what he did to take that. Yet another Iron Cup trophy for Stephen Earle. Certainly knows all the moves on the podium. He's been up there enough times over the past few years, but that smile says it all. Best of all, Stephen, you've got to do it all over again tomorrow. Just what the doctor ordered, and he is a doctor, so he should know these things. Being an orthopaedic surgeon, and he doesn't care if the others don't want to be sprayed, he's going to get them anyway. So a man who's here to race, here to party, here to have fun, very epitome of competing in the Blancpain GT Sports Club. Another class victory there for Stephen Earle. A man who in this form could have a party on his own. He is on his own on the podium. He's got his champagne, he's got the big trophy, and he's got the biggest smile of the lot.